Hi there, this is Solitary Ronan from Solitary Ronan Films, and welcome to another random review. And today's random review is of Derek Jarman's The Angelic Conversation from 1985. Now I thought I'd do a video on this because there's a slightly interesting story to it. Not really, but I'm going to do it anyway. I'm a fan of the band Coil, which if you have seen my letter C in my album Alphabet series on my Solitary Ronan Music channel. I have a bunch of Coil CDs, and one of them is the Angelic Conversation soundtrack. Now I've had this soundtrack for probably 20 odd years, and I absolutely love it. It's Coil's usual mix of strange noises, natural sounds, and what makes this stand out is Judi Dench, before she was Dame Judi Dench, recites Shakespeare sonnets over the music. So I've had that album in my life for like over 20 years, and I love it. It's great for going to sleep with, because it gets into your head. But I'd never actually seen Derek Jarman's film, The Angelic Conversation, of which the soundtrack is from. I haven't really seen any Derek Jarman films, not even Blue, which is his kind of famous one. But I may dip into more Derek Jarman. I know there's like a BFI 2 box sets on Blu-ray, which are ridiculously expensive. But I saw this BFI DVD of The Angelic Conversation, and I picked up on eBay for like £7. It's actually a very nice edition because you get a booklet as well. You get a booklet which has an essay. Was actually a letter that Tilda Swinton wrote to Derek Jarman, because she appears in quite a lot of his films. There's actually a piece on Coil, penned by Peter Christopherson, one of the guys in Coil, and there's kind of an overview of Jarman, who died in 1994, and there's kind of an overview of The Angelic Conversation. Now allegedly, according to one of the people in the extras of the film, this was Derek Jarman's favourite film that he did. And there's actually also a list of the sonnets from Shakespeare. You won't be able to read that, but there's a list of the sonnets that are used in the film. Yeah, like I said, this was allegedly Derek Jarman's favourite of his films. There are interviews with the producer James Mackay and production designer Christopher Hobbs. There's a 32-minute interview with Derek Jarman from 1989 with Simon Field, a stills gallery, and like I say, there's a nice little booklet. The film itself, I mean, Jarman started in the design part of films. He worked on Ken Russell films, and then it kind of piqued his interest to make his own films. He used kind of Super 8, and there's lots of kind of handheld. The Angelic Conversation doesn't have any narrative structure. It's fairly experimental. Being Jarman, it is quite a lot of young handsome men in various states of undress, looking at each other pensively. But there's something about the film, again, because I came to the film as somebody who's had the soundtrack and those Shakespeare sonnets in my head for like over 20 years. The film's only like 76 minutes, but I found it absolutely flew by. But again, I was kind of waiting for the bits of music that I recognise, waiting for the sonnets. The imagery, there's lots of smoke and water and fire and nature. It's a very organic film, it's a very earthy film. I think the kind of main characters you can see in one of the images at the top, it kind of starts with him sitting in a window, obviously thinking about these events, and we kind of see various random images. Again, it's not coherent, it's a kind of poetic film. Obviously, if you're looking for a narrative drive and plot, there's no dialogue. It's just layering of images. There's almost like a Sisyphus character. There's obviously parts of it that were shot in a quarry, and it's very dusty and Sisyphus-y, which I don't think is a word, but it is now. It's very trance-like. And again, I would be interested to hear if anybody has watched it and what they felt and what their feelings towards the film are if they hadn't heard the music before. Again, with Coil, their music isn't music in the traditional sense. I mean, they have albums of just drones. They have albums that are quite scary if you listen to them in the dark. There's like noises and strange kind of things. So there's lots of running water. There's lots of babbling brooks. But again, Judi Dench reciting the Shakespeare sonnets, there's just something about that over the imagery that I really enjoyed. And like I said, it's only 75 minutes, but it flew by. But again, I don't know whether that's just because I've had the music in those sonnets in my life for like 20 odd years, whereas I've just actually watched the film for the first time. So it's kind of a difficult, obviously, film to rate, because it's, it's not a conventional film, it is an experimental film. But I have kind of rated it a 4 out of 5, and I probably will watch it again just to get that link between the imagery and the music and the sound. But I just thought I would do this video just on the subject, because I can't really think of another film that I've had the soundtrack of for years without actually seeing the film before. Because usually, unless it's a composer that I really like, that I'll just buy their stuff without seeing the film. But usually you see the film and you go, oh, the music's quite good, the soundtrack's quite good for that, so I'll get the soundtrack. There's not too many occasions where I've had a soundtrack for like 20 odd years without actually seeing the film. I do have a couple of Tinderstick soundtracks that I haven't actually seen the film for. I mean, the Angelic Conversation, because Coil are difficult, and even being a Coil fan, some of their stuff is almost unlistenable to at times. I think if you're wanting to jump into Coil, Angelic Conversation might be quite a good place to start. But again, they're not songs, they're just kind of soundscapes. And then you just have this clarity of Judi Dench reciting Shakespeare. I mean, what more could you want? Yeah, so let me know if you've seen the Angelic Conversation, or if you've heard the soundtrack, or if there's any soundtrack albums that you have but you haven't actually seen the film, or is it just weird people like me? Yeah, Derek Jarman's The Angelic Conversation. Again, there's 2 Blu-ray box sets with BFI, but they are really expensive. I think this volume 2 is not as expensive, but volume 1 I think is out of print, so it's silly money. But this DVD you can pick up pretty cheaply, and it's a really nice edition with extras and such. So thanks very much for watching this Angelic random review, and hopefully you'll join me for more. Again, let me know if you've seen the film and what you think of it, and hopefully you'll join me again for more random reviews. This is Solitary Ronin from Solitary Ronin Films, saying farewell.